Hi everyone. Of course now I have my coach Hannah, but I'm a little bit behind with my videos, so I'm still posting some from a little while back on other vehicles. Today we have HZC. Morning guys, it's a super sunny day again. I'm here in the yard. It's Sunday morning. It's not particularly early, something like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. It's day 1 of 3, as you've seen from the thumbnail. We're going to the Isle of Man, first time there, see what happens. Alright, catch you again soon guys. Inside the coach this time. Forgot to say that first thing we got is about a 3-hour drive up to Heysham Docks near Liverpool, and of course then we're going to get a ferry across, find the hotel, and then we're staying overnight in the hotel, and then we are ready first thing in the morning for the passengers to come over. Real quick check-in, we're at the terminal for the ferry, as you can see. I'll do a bit of a voiceover for what happened because it's a bit interesting if you don't know where you're going, so I'll do a voiceover and explain what's going on, but just waiting to go onto the ferry now. So picking up here on the last roundabout on the way into the actual ferry terminal itself. Now I know it's easy to say just follow the signs, and of course that's what you do, but when it's your first time somewhere, I'm always a little bit wary, I'm always a little bit careful. There were no signs saying coaches go a different way, but equally there were no signs saying cars this way, so it just wasn't signed apart from just to the port. So you kind of have to follow and hope, but I checked it out on Google Maps as I always do, but it didn't look particularly big down here, and I was a little bit unsure. As you can see, there's 2 of us here. There were actually 3 coaches in total, but unfortunately our third guy somehow didn't get the memo about stopping at services on the way. So anyway, we'll catch up with him in a bit's time. But anyway, so the first thing was us 2 together now coming into the port. Now of course it's a little bit hard for you to see now because he's in front of me what's going on, but we're in a queue of cars basically, so I shall just skip this bit and come back to when we get to the end of the queue of cars. Okay, the guy there in the white shirt just walking away from my colleague was one of the other coach drivers there, you can see. We'll meet him again in a minute. He's the one who told us we needed to go up this outside, which of course we could have done earlier had we known what to do. But anyway, cut the outside and just go round in a big loop and basically park up next to where those coaches were. You'll see as we come around, parked up facing the wrong way. Now there are coach signs on those 2 lanes that point in the other direction. So it's all a bit confusing. And actually when I then spoke to the guy you'll see in just a minute here, the marshal, later on, he said, oh, they sometimes do it that way, they sometimes do it the other way, depends how many coaches there are, depends how many cars there are, so it's all a bit ad hoc really. So you know, you just have to go and ask someone where to go when you need to. So the guy here in the orange vest was the guy I then spoke to later on about what happened. But anyway, we got parked up, and then the next job after that was to go take our paperwork, book into the actual ferry itself. Obviously they're expecting passengers, we didn't have any because we were running dead. Book in and then wait to be taken around to actually board the ferry itself. It's not entirely obvious, is it, if you don't know where you're going? No, it's not obvious if you don't know where you're going. There's no instructions to what you do. One of the port marshals had jumped on with my colleague in front of us, and he was showing us where to go. I mean, it was like round the houses, literally. We've kind of gone back out of the port onto that roundabout we came in on, up the road, turned around the corner, came back into the port on the other side. Then we drove like around the absolute outside of all of the storage containers. You'll see us going past those. Stop up quickly at security for a quick security check, passport, and then on towards the ferry. And then I'll pick up again in just a few seconds time with the bit up on the ferry. Still following my colleague here, of course, we go on to the ferry, and then I noticed that he's starting to go up a ramp, and at that point I thought, oh, I'm just going to stop up here and wait and see what he's doing, and I'm glad I did. So just pause up here, wait for him to go up that ramp. I'm thinking, that looks a little bit close, but anyway, so you'll see in a minute what happens. Wait for it to get most of the way out the ramp so I can see what's going on, and then alright, let's just go. Now the ramp is, as you can see, has got a metal grid on it to obviously stop vehicle slipping, but that makes it rather rattly in the coach, so excuse the rattle and the bad picture. I'm going to pause it right at this point here. It's not easy to see, but there's got to be 2 centimeters or less here either side of the mirror on those black bars on the left and right, so it's really tight getting up here. Then it's just a case of a bit of shunting to get us in the right place where they want us parked up, ready for the journey across. The ferry was called the Manxman. It's relatively new to the Isle of Man steam packet company that runs it. It's quite a bit bigger than their previous vessels, which still run as well on other services, but it's considerably smaller than the Dover Calais ferry. So we're able to get some food like we are there in the restaurant and chill in this lounge up here. It was another shunt to get lined up to get back down that same ramp and off the ferry, but off was much easier than on. Of course, once you've done it once, you know you can do it again after that. So it was off the ferry up into the beautiful Isle of Man sunshine, and then it was just a little 2 minutes around the corner to where we've been told where we could park. And then helping out the other guys as well to get there, but we all got there and we all got parked up in the end. So I'm going to speed this up. Apart from the fact I might just slow it down when I go down the ramp, because actually you can see how tight it is better on the way down than you can on the way up. So speed up, slow down for the ramp tightness, and then speed up again just getting around the other side of the port basically, which is where we were parking. I'm away, so of course I have to record a hotel room video. So you'll have seen the video on the ferry, which of course was a bit crazy. We're here now, we've got the hotels all sorted for tonight, and we've just got the evening off now, and then overnight, and then pick up the passengers in the morning. So catch up in the morning, guys. It's the next morning. We are just out here on the promenade. The hotel was just a little short walk up from the coaches, so we can see down by the bay behind us. The coaches are kind of somewhere over there by where the ships are. You can see right at the end of the headland there. But we're going to go down, do our walk round checks, get our coaches ready for the passengers today. This is the cruise ship just berthed out there in the bay a little bit. This is the biggest cruise ship that they can take into the Isle of Man, and they were just tendering people from the ship to the actual dock side just to get people on and off the ship. Okay, so the plan was that we were going to do 2 trips each day, so half days, and there was 3 of us, as you've seen from the picture, and we were all doing slightly different things each time, but so trips of half days. Now for me, day 1 was to go, first half in the morning was to go across to the other side of the island to a town, I suppose you could call it, called Peel, which has a museum there that tells the history of the Isle of Man and some of the stuff around that. Now I totally forgot to throw up my camera and record that journey, so I don't have any of that journey across. You say the other side of the island and people kind of get themselves comfortable for a journey, but it only takes about 20 minutes to get across the island because it's not a particularly big place, but they're all good. Nice journey across. So took them across, then had just a couple of hours or so while they went around the museum and a little bit of the kind of port and harbour area that's there, and picked them up and then brought them back. So here's a little bit of footage that I did remember to do from the journey back, and this is the tour guide, who was a lady from the Isle of Man. She's very knowledgeable about the Isle of Man. She's doing a little bit of talking as we come back across.
There you are now, everybody. Are we ready to go, everybody? Yes. So on the next stage of our journey, we are heading back to the ship. back to Douglas, but on the way we're going to stop and have a look at Tynwald Hill, which is the place where we passed on the way, which is the site of our National Parliament every year. But just have a look at the boats coming and going here. A yacht went out earlier on and they opened the bridge down here. So here's another one preparing to go. They're probably visitors. They'll be from across the water, maybe England way, Whitehaven, or possibly on the coast of Ireland. So they'll have come here maybe for the weekend, a few days, and then a good sail. It's good sailing weather at the moment. Really has been lovely and calm, slight breeze, you know, just stable, calm weather for the last 2 or 3 weeks at least. So when I grew up in Peel, I come from this part of the island. This used to be a harbour that dried out at low tide. It dried out. Now they filled it in, they've made a marina here. And there's a flat gate. He's getting ready to open that bridge there to let that boat come through. So if you're looking out through here, the birds that you would have seen on the pier, on they're eider ducks, black and white. The black and white is the male eider duck, and the brown females. Those are herring gulls on the shoreline there, just having a rest. And on the beach here, when I was growing up, once a year we have the Peel Viking Festival. So we had Viking boats and the Vikings in them coming ashore and raiding the Celts. I was usually one of the Celts, one of the native girls on the shore, and you'd be carried off by a Viking if you got captured. But the interesting thing to me was the ceremony, because they'd have a battle there between the Celts and the Vikings, and the Viking chief would be killed, and they put him in a Viking ship and push the Viking ship out and then set it alight. So there, and I thought, well, what have they done with the man? Where's that man gone? I'd seen a body go in a boat, but this was all the magic that occurred on the beach. But so they still have a lot of Viking ceremonies. You'll have heard up in Shetland. So this is a building site, as you can see, going on here on the right-hand side. I wonder, is it going to be flats? Probably flats rather than a business, I think. It's a nice place to live, of course. People want to live on our shores like this, on beach views, but in the winter times you'll get high seas coming over here. You can see the water coming over the far end of the promenade now, and in fact right round the island we're putting sea walls in. It's because of the tide increasing, what do you call it, sea level rises. Right round the world that'll be happening, sea levels rising. So we have to put storm defences in. You'll see in Douglas they put a new seawall if you're in Douglas this afternoon, and we're doing the same round to safeguard the property on the promenades. So they can't get in, they won't be able to get insurance, you see, for their house insurance if they're subject to flood waters.
So what's the story behind the flag?
Sorry?
That flag with 3 legs.
The flag. Now the flag with the 3 legs of man. The three legs has been the emblem of the Isle of Man since at least the 14th century. It was brought in by some of the English lords of Man. They were knights, and if you look at the 3 legs, it's got a spur and armour on it. Now then, a couple of 100 years ago, somebody came up with a Latin motto: whichever way you throw it, it will stand. Oh. So people today like to think, well, it's our independence. It points to our independence.
You have to accept the free movement of people between the UK and the Isle of Man. Are people able to move back and forth?
Sorry, sir?
Are you able to, you have to accept the free movement of people between
the
the UK?
free movement of people. Oh, free, oh yes. People come on, it depends what you mean by free movement.
I mean, people move here and live here. If they want
yes, you can come, anyone can come and live here. As I explained before, you have to have a work permit if you want to have a job here. The way that works is that if Robin and I both applied for the same job, they would have to give the job to me because I'm a Manx-born person. But if there was only Robin, then he would get a work permit for the job. So that's how that system works. So anyone, it's not like Jersey. I think Jersey, they may have more controls over who can live there, for example. No, anyone can come and live here if they're self-supporting.
So if you had a job that you work remotely from another country, you could still come here.
Yes, I think you could. You could, yeah, if you had a job, yeah. There'll be lots of people living here that are working from home. And, yeah. The Queen Elizabeth High School on the left, one of our high schools. We have a good system of education here, 5 high schools. That's actually named after, was opened by Queen Elizabeth II.
So she came to open it?
She came to open it. We have a member of the royal family. If a member of the royal family comes over to the Isle of Man, and it's usually, we would invite them specifically for our Tynwald ceremony, for our National Day. And as Lord of Man, they're called Lord of Man because we have a relationship with the British Crown, they would preside over that ceremony. So the Queen came, and she's been here 2 or 3 times, and she sat on the top of Tynwald Hill and presided over the ceremony, and then she came and opened that school in 1979, which was the millennium of our Parliament. So Camilla actually came on her own last year. It was the time when Charles wasn't well. There was a time when he was having cancer treatment and he couldn't come. So she came on her own. It wasn't for the Tynwald ceremony, but she came to visit the island. Princess Anne is the one that comes the most because she's interested in horses, and she's got friends on the island who keep horses and who race horses. Of the roads, that's called gorse. Do you know it? Yeah. Gorse. It's very, very pretty. It smells of almond sort of smell, beautiful smell. The bees love it. And then the white is the hawthorn. In England they call it the Mayflower. I think so. Am I right, Robin? Do you know that? Do you know that, May? Don't cast a cloud till May is out. Have you heard that? No. That means don't go into summer clothes until you see the May out, and then that's a sign that it's warming up. The weather's warming up. But some people think it's the month of May, but it's the Mayflower. I think they think it's the Mayflower. So when we get to Tynwald Hill here, what we're going to do is we're going to park here for about 1/4 of an hour. And then it's called a photo stop, so it's time just to get off the coach if you want to. You don't have to. You can sit on if you're nice and comfortable. That's fine. Go further behind that other one, further along. You should get a real look.
Oh, where the bus is?
Yeah, where the bus. Sorry. Room just there behind him on not much is there. Alright. Thank you. That's fine. I think that would be the usual place for us to stop. You see, that's a private hire there.
Yeah, he was part down with the coaches earlier.
So just opposite Tynwald Hill, on the right-hand side is there's some Gaelic words there in the red. Bunskull Gilgach, that means the Manx school, Manx first school. So in the Isle of Man, because our Manx government are particularly valuing the Manx language, they have done for the last about 50 years, there's been an increase in our culture, if you like, and putting money into it. The government puts money towards it. It's to make us different. to our identity. It's our national identity, really. The language is very important. So we have a school here where if you've got children, you can send them here and they can have the whole of their education in the Manx language. It's common in other parts of the Celtic nations as well, but we didn't have it when I was growing up. I didn't have the chance to learn Manx language, but I could now, and my husband was actually a fluent Manx speaker.
We only stayed there about 15 minutes or so, just long enough for people to get off, have a look around, take some photos, and then we were on our way back over to Douglas for lunchtime-ish, although we took a slightly different route back on the way back just to show them some more of the island. But all good on that first journey. Unfortunately, my camera got knocked with people getting on and off on this particular point here, and I didn't notice it, so no more footage of the journey back, unfortunately. But anyway, that was the first half of the day. After a break for lunch, my second job of the day was to do this one on the Victoria Railways and Snaefell Mountain. So we picked up the passengers at the port again, drove them actually not far past where the hotel was, up the promenade on the front, so like literally 3-minute drive up the front, dropped them off at the Victorian Railway station there, and then the railway was going to take them out into the country and up the mountain. And I had the fun, super fun job of driving the coach up dead to meet them at the railway station at near, well, it's not quite the top of the mountain, but near the top of the mountain. And that was obviously quite a fun run. So here's a little bit of footage from me driving up. It only takes about 20 minutes to run up the mountain, so I went back to the port to park for a little while. This is on the way up, so in Douglas they have, on the promenade, they have 2 of these things. They're called roundels, technically, and they caused a bit of what's the word I want, derision really from locals when they were first installed a few years ago, apparently, so I hear. However, you just treat them like any old normal roundabout, but they're just an interesting thing here in Douglas. It was just 2 weeks before the Isle of Man TT races when we were there, and I turned into this road to make my way up the mountain, and going through here, you might recognise if you know the races, this is the grandstand, this is the start and finish of the actual races itself, and I was just driving straight through the middle of it, which was kind of interesting. I am of course now at this point going the wrong way round what will be the TT course eventually. You start climbing really before you even leave Douglas itself, but of course eventually you get out of Douglas and up onto the actual mountain road itself. As I said before, the bike races on the TT will be coming the other way to what we're going here, but anyway, we're going up the mountain towards the top, so this is the Snaefell Mountain Road. Talking to the station master when I got up here, that cafe is quite nice. As you can see, there's bikers just starting to come around for the TT in a couple of weeks' time. But anyway, so he said that that cafe was really nice, so I probably should have spent my time up here as opposed to down at the docks. But hey, lesson learned for next time. But anyway, so picked the passengers up here, ran back down the mountain to drop them off back at the port again. So this job was particularly easy, but that's fine, no problem with that. And the view down as you come down the mountain, as you see the city of Douglas, you know, kind of come out before you, is amazing. And as you can see, it was a beautiful sunny day. It was really nice, really great views from up there. Really beautiful place to be. Anyway, so that was the run down to the port, dropped the passengers off, and that basically was the day done then. It's the end of day 2, back in the hotel again. We've got slightly different rooms than last night. and I now have a balcony sea view room, as you can see behind me. Hang on, can I get the balcony? It's only a little Juliet balcony, but nonetheless I've got this open door that I can open and get outside here. You can probably just about see the cruise ship in the background is leaving. So we're done now for today. Wouldn't have had the hours to get back to the UK today, so we're staying overnight, one more night, catching the ferry in the morning, so evening off to get some food, maybe grab a drink, and then we're starting again in the morning. You can't miss this small ruin in the Douglas Bay, and as we walked up the promenade a couple of times over the few days, we did wonder whether you could actually make it out to there or not. Now generally people don't, however every now and again the RNLI raise funds by doing a sponsored walk out to this little thing. It's called the Tower of Refuge, so it's great to hear that you could do that. And here on day 3 in the morning the tide was fairly low, and you can see the start of the walkway out, and so yeah, it was good to find out that you can actually make it out there. So loading onto the ferry here to come back across, and I'm kind of mentally preparing myself to have to go up that ramp again, but as you'll see we didn't have to. Morning. Am I special? I get like a thingy across the road. I'm special.
Well, it's not like a stinger to take your tires out. If you go follow them up, we'll spin you downstairs. Downstairs today.
Oh,
you're empty.
Oh, we're not going upstairs. We were empty yesterday. The other day we went upstairs.
Well,
Just the way it goes.
I wasn't loading yesterday.
Oh, okay.
It was my.
It wasn't the quality loader.
You may think so. I couldn't possibly come.
People who know me will know that I like to have a bit of a laugh and a joke with people I encounter when I'm driving. It always just makes things a bit more fun and exciting. But anyway, so here we are. I'm going to skip a little bit of waiting here just to cut out that bit, and then we'll come back when we do the actual shunting. It feels like, or it felt like we spent half the time shunting the coaches around on this few days, turning around here, turning around there, going up somewhere, turning around again. Just spent the whole time shunting. But hey, get used to it. We've got good mirrors, reversing camera, it's all good. Anyway, so I'll cut out some waiting and come back again in a second when we do some more shunting. Forwards. I was going to say, I said forwards, you're like, yes. I'm like, really? Food on the ferry was free for drivers, as it often is, and here's just a panorama as we leave the Isle of Man and come back towards the mainland. Coming off the ferry was of course nice and easy, straight run off with no ramp. You have to be a little bit careful of course here, so the guy telling you where to go over that strip to avoid grounding. Just go nice and slow, take it nice and steady, and all is good. So off the ferry. Ferry lift back down again, because I'd put it up, always do when you come on and off a ferry. And then of course we know where we're going now, straight round and out the port, but round all the houses to get out. And then it's just a few hours back down to the depot. So that's pretty much it finished now. Just another quite quick last little bit of footage pulling into the depot for a sign off. You have to excuse me whistling to myself in the background if you can hear that. So overall, that was a really good few days. The weather was really good. The journey over was good. The Isle of Man's a great place to live, really nice. It's a bit expensive. We did have a look at the price of the housing, but that's partly because it's a bit of a tax haven. But anyway, you know, in the summer, in the great weather, it's beautiful. You can go up the mountain. It's big enough. There's stuff to do there, you know, and have something to it, but small enough that you're not going to get lost there, or, you know, you can make it round to everywhere you need to. So yeah, really great place. Really enjoyable few days. I'd really like to do that again. I don't know if we all will get to do it again or not, but that was really enjoyable. So here we are, just arriving back into the depot to sort the coach out and sort it out ready for the next driver. So as always, thank you for watching the video. Please like and subscribe. Please leave a comment. That always helps the algorithm, and let me know if you've been to the Isle of Man and what you thought of it. Okay guys, take care, drive safe.